Hello, hello, hello. I am Jake. I'm a syndicalist. This is Jake the Syndicalist. Let me exit out of my music tab. Leave that there. And today is my first video. So, as a syndicalist, there's not a lot of information on syndicalism. So, I thought I'd do a video about what syndicalism is. And I also pulled up the Wikipedia page just for some exact, what's it called, information. But generally the idea of syndicalism is, syndicalism says the government should be controlled by the unions. Now, I'll go into more detail about this as, we go through the Wikipedia page together. And if y'all like this, which means 2 likes, I'll go through different far left and maybe even far right ideologies, and you can comment on them. So, some history. Syndicalism was mostly prominent after World War I, and most of the people and it was because of people were unionized. But, syndicalism is not very popular today. And if you ask, could syndicalism happen in the U.S.? It can't, because only 10% of the population is unionized, and I'll get to that later. So, syndicalism, we're on the Wikipedia page now, is a radical labor movement, active 20th century. And its idea is to establish, as Wikipedia says, local worker-based organizations and the advancement of workers' rights through strikes. That's why syndicalism can't happen in the United States. So how you become a syndicalist nation, it's advocated that you go through a series of worker strikes, killing the capitalist system. That's not possible here in the U.S. because only 10% of them are unionized. So, predominant in the revolutionary left before World War I, and because Marxism was reformist, I got my timeline kind of wrong. So, organizations can set General Labor Force of France, National Confederation of Labor, Spain, Italian Syndicalist Union. They were upfront about that one. Free Workers of Germany. Argentina had one, though they didn't call themselves a syndicalist. And these people don't regard themselves as syndicalists, but they consider them are. The IWW, or the Industrial Workers of the World, which I half agree with, but yeah. And the Irish Transport and General Workers Union, I don't really know about that. And One Big Union, also don't know about that, if y'all don't know. From the States, when I say y'all, that kind of thing. Syndicalist organizations are still active, daily to International Workers Association, and some of the members left to form the International Confederation of Labor. So, let's go down and talk about, let's go to emergence. So, emergence. Syndicalism originally was France, originally with the IWW in the States, and caught on in other countries. Reasons of the emergence of syndicalism. Germany and Werner Sobart, this guy, commented on it, and particularly to the French and the Italians like it because, quote, the only people who could possibly act to such a system of teaching are French and Italians. They are generally men who do things impulsively, who are seized upon passion and enthusiasm, but have little application, preference, or calm steadiness. It was uptick in radicalism between 1911 and 1922. It relented during World War I, and the increased frequency in the UK, between 1910 and 1914, it was the Great Labor Unrest. these kind of things were populated syndicalism. So there's more reasons here, but it was mainly that that they were unhappy and that they wanted their work to be better. Why did it fall? Mainly after World War One. More people went to work, or went to fight the war, and came back, and they didn't have to work, and it kind of died out. In my personal opinion, and with the and it just kind of happened. In my personal opinion, if Germany didn't start World War One, but if they won World War One, we would have a lot heavier syndicalist presence, principles. It's similar to Marxism. I kind of say it's between communism and socialism. Back to revolution. Principles. So we think that government should be localized and based on union workers, and yeah. Critique of capitalist state. Leading figure on IWW, founding Congress, working class from the slave and bondage of capitalism. Syndicalism was held that society divided into two great classes: the working class and then the rich, which is still true today. Even if you don't agree with me, come on, the top 1% is so much farther from the. Anyway, that's not the point. This is about syndicalism. One of the things about this is, well, I'll put a picture of it, but the Pyramid of Capitalism by the IWW. I'll put a picture here, and this is kind of what syndicalism is about, and how the IWW and syndicalism critiques capitalism. Yeah, so I'll put that up now. Class struggle. Unions played a dual role. Yeah, struggle for capitalism and better workers' rights. They played a key role in revolutions to overthrow capitalism. So, syndicalism seeks the coordination of workers' efforts, but the increase of workers' well-being. So, the achievement of immediate improvement. So the reduction of working hours, more money, that kind of thing. The aspect of syndicalism. For unions to fill this role is to prevent bureaucracy. And bureaucracy, not good. Look at the states and our So practically, the unions have control because they know what's best for the worker. That's pretty much it. Yeah. If I talk like this and that's kind of how I talk. I'm sorry. Remain vague about how we envision capitalism, and I have my own personal opinions, but this is not about it. This is about what generally syndicalism is. And syndicalism, how you look at, how you want it varies. And syndicalism movement and policies originally were mixed, and they still are. Because as syndicalists, originally we're indifferent to women's suffrage and that kind of thing. Elizabeth Gurley Finn was an IWW organizer and find the power of the point of where production where they work than the ballot box, she said. Female radical criticized the masculine atmosphere at the beginning. That was about the one big union delegation thing. The IWW promotion of sabotage represents the masculine posturing industrial capitalism. So many women from I'm reading are were syndicalists, but they but they didn't really support the revolutions and that kind of thing because they found it as masculine. The an IWW anti-war slogan was "Don't be a soldier, be a man," and that kind of illustrates the point. It was against war and for the workers. So the syndicalist heyday was probably before World War One, but but it was still working power during World War One. Just in the U.S. From 1905 to 1913, there's strikes, miners' strikes in Goldfield, Nevada, steel worker strike in McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, textile worker strike in Massachusetts, timber worker strikes in Louisiana and Arkansas, and a silk workers strike in New Jersey. And this shows what's really going on is they're expressing their ideas to oppose capitalism. Wobbly leaders, or IWW leaders, brought together mostly immigrant workers. So this is also a thing with syndicalism. We're very inclusive. Yeah. So, if you're a worker, you can be a syndicalist. It doesn't matter. So Mexico's syndicalism emerged in 1906. There was strikes in Canada. The Mexican Revolution, anarchists formed the Syndicalist Union, the House of the World Worker. Series of successful strikes in Mexico City and central Mexico, the Constitutional Army, and rural forces such as the Zapatistas, that kind of thing. And Zapatistas, Portugal, when they deposed the king, a lot of things happened. Police officers, the agricultural union, and the syndicalists called for a general strike. During the strike, Lisbon was controlled by workers. This is a good job for us. And the strike, there's Italian strikes in the Po Valley. Just a lot of syndicalists. Its heyday was before World War One. World War One, we opposed nationalization and militarism. Still do that. It's as Haywood said, it's better to be a traitor to your country than to your class. French syndicalists used the army as the primary defender of capitalist order, which is true. It is. And syndicalists in Britain opened letter to British soldiers, imploring them not to shoot striking workers, and just general discontent with the war. So syndicalism is inherently anarchist. There is, I believe, a little more government than most syndicalists do, but yeah. Because, you have to control. Even if the workers strike, they'll just go back. Anyway, going through more World War I stuff. Russian Revolution. Tsar Nicholas was forced to abdicate, that kind of thing. So the union of syndicalist or anarcho-syndicalist propaganda, so the anarchist syndicalists agreed with the Bolsheviks, so they helped make Russia communist for that time. Not going to comment on it because I don't know if I'll get demonetized or I don't know. October Revolution stuff. Anyway, the syndicalists sided with the Bolsheviks, is what I'm getting. And they played a part in Russia, or the Soviet Union. And so International Workers Association. So the Bolsheviks oppressed syndicalism, even though they helped in the October Revolution, but whatever. The Comintern was founded in Moscow. Bolsheviks acknowledged the syndicalist revolution to socialist reformists, and, I don't know. No syndicalists attended the civilization because of the blockade of Russia. Travel to Moscow, impossible. So no syndicalists went to the conference at Moscow. Syndicalists became more estranged from the Comintern. So, I mean, at least they were a left-wing organization, but they weren't a great one, so, I don't know. Decline after World War One and fascism, that's when syndicalists kind of went to a far right, left, really radical ideology, and wasn't as accepted as it was. It's still, I mean, it still has a presence, but not as much. Fascism didn't help. We did have a minor success. We didn't actually declare during the Spanish Civil War. Actually, I may be wrong, but I may be wrong about that. But the anarchist revolution, the anarchist revolution during the Spanish Civil War, formation of, so broadly social policies, that kind of thing. They were syndicalists. Reasons. So legacy, we don't have a major legacy, but I mean, anarcho-syndical. But after the Spanish Civil War was kind of our last stand, and we got run over. So we have very little influence, except for maybe the IWW and that kind of thing. But syndicalism isn't as prominent as it used to be. Well, really, from used to be, that's saying a lot. That's like late 1910 or mid 1910s. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, whatever. Do what you want. If you don't like it, dislike. Tell me what I need. Don't yell at me, but constructive criticism is always appreciated. And, I'll see you in the next video.